Welcome to Nearing Nirvana, bringing you another episode, or the end of the year episode, long story short, where we're going to go over the 2022 comic exclusives of the year. But we have some special guests joining us. We have Ant from Bird City. How's it going?
Yo.
We have
That's all I
we have James from Hive Comics joining us.
What's up, everyone?
And then we have of course, Mr. Longshort joining us.
Hello, everybody.
And the best presser in Texas, Red Hood Comic. All right.
Hello, Jenny.
All right. I want to take a second to thank our sponsors. So make sure you're headed over to Cover Price and use the code Nirvana14 for a 30-day unlimited membership for only 99 cents. I recently spoke to Matt DeVoe, and he has some really exciting stuff for us planned coming up next year. So he's going to get more involved with the show and everything.
Matt wanted to be on tonight, but he had a commitment that he couldn't get out of. But he actually wanted to be on the show for this tonight. But maybe next year.
All right, and I want to thank the man next to me, Ant Bird City. So make sure you're using the code Nirvana to get a 15% discount on the website.
You're welcome.
And then we have a bunch of people joining us. Let's see. We have Fight the Good Fight. What's going on? Paul Holloway. How are you? Nemesis Prime. What's going on? Good Kaiji. How's it going? Nearing Nirvana, which I'm guessing is Lucy. Metal Face 616. Laura. How's it going? Rudy. They call me Bruce. Copy 801. And then we have Mama Comic Lucy for real. Rudy. I'm not even going to try to pronounce that last name. Sorry. Wayne Jung. Namesh Patel. How's it going?
Namesh!
But yeah. So we'll have more people joining us throughout the show. Some are on other podcasts right now, and then they say they would make it later. But we are covering a ton of books tonight, so I'm super stoked about it.
What? Who said they were going to be here and then other podcasts, bro?
I mean, because, we're on other shows, all of us, right? Besides just this channel, more or less.
And you're okay with that?
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, you're on other shows too, right?
I don't know what you're talking about. No, I'm just trying to be all drama, right? What the hell's going on?
Someone needs to get the keyboard out and do dun dun dun.
Yeah.
Right. Of a polyamorous YouTube relationship.
What was that? Don't be using big words, James. That's where I just completely shut down, dude. It's like
I'll put the meaning in the private chat for you.
2 syllables and you check out.
Put it in the chat for me too, then.
Man, I barely finished high school, man. I'm probably the only one with a dictionary reading my comics,
All right, so I guess let's go ahead and get right into it.
Yeah, but before we get going, just a couple of quick things about the show tonight. One, normal disclaimer applies. We're not specking here. We're just talking about cool books. The exclusive area is a charged area. People have strong opinions one way or the other. The point of the show tonight, honestly, is to recognize books that were done really, really well, right? I think this space in some ways can be abused, but there are some really exceptional books that get done every single year. And I think as a community, we need to recognize those and encourage that, right? Anytime somebody produces a gem for the hobby, for the community, it's something that should be held up and celebrated, in my opinion. So that's what we're talking about tonight. So we're not telling you to go buy these books. We're not saying anything, but this is just quite a long list of books that we think were done particularly well in the exclusive space this year. And not all of these I necessarily like. Some of these are ones that hit big for one reason or another, and we'll talk about those. Doesn't mean that we necessarily love every single book on this list. A lot of them absolutely do love, though. So we'll get right into all that.
All right, and right before we start, I want to add one more panelist to the stream. We have Josh, International Comics. How's it going?
Hey, what's up?
He's looking super comfy right now
Yeah,
in
his-
his like hoodie
Yeah,
blanket.
dude.
All lit
My-
up and everything. man.
My Udi.
Oh, is that what it's called?
Yeah.
He's wearing an Udi.
Ooh,
Yeah,
we
dude,
got
it's an Udi.
we
It's,
got
it's almost like
to
an
Mel's
obi,
point
but
there,
it's an
I think
ubi.
that's super important. And I want to point out one thing about this whole print run stuff. Like, if stores are lying about that, people out there, like, making up numbers that they're not being truth. I mean, that's people kind of take that lightly, but actually, at the end of the day, that's quite generally fraud. If people are telling customers that we're producing X amount, but it's twice that, right? So they're luring them in to buy books. I mean, that is fraud. It's not like to be taken lightly. That's a crime.
Yeah.
And if any of that stuff is going on, that shit should be called out quick because it's wrong, right? I mean, if people are literally trying to lure people in to buy books because they're representing that they're rarer than they are, and they're lying, I mean, that's that's a crime. I mean, that's genuinely fraud, the definition of it. So yeah, if that shit's going on and people know about it, I would encourage people to make that stuff public because our hobby does not need that.
When we've been very public, and Mel will attest to it because we've been most public on his show. Like, anybody ever has a question of our print runs, hit us up. I'll show you deal memos.
yeah.
And other
I've done that
retailers
before.
shouldn't be afraid to do that either.
Yeah.
All
Yeah,
right.
that's a fun topic. That should be like a whole show.
That could be a whole show.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I'm sure we'll have time. If we want to extend the show a little bit longer, we could discuss it a little bit further after we cover all this. But it's up to y'all. Okay.
All right, why don't we get into it? All right. So this is a book that I think hit really well. I think a lot of people really like this one. Warren Lau, I think, absolutely crushed this. I want to be clear that I'm not necessarily endorsing anybody who produced these books, but I think the work of art on this speaks for itself. One of the more unique pieces that we've seen this year, I think perhaps some of his very best work. It's a very subtle homage, which I think came off really, really well. And the book sold out relatively quickly. I'm not going to attest to whether or not these print runs are true or not, but this is what they told people. And I think given how quickly the book sold, that seems that it's accurate. But just a really exceptionally detailed book. If you look at everything in the background, one that I think is you should be celebrated as a well done exclusive this year. Anybody have thoughts on this one?
I don't think she's crazy. What do you guys think?
I think it just shows that covers can be done well without having to be super over the top, super over sexualized, super, anything. They can be simple if they're done properly. I mean, there's lots of little things to take from this cover that when you start actually paying attention to it, you're not just looking at boobs or not looking at something else. Bat symbol in the background, Wonder Woman photo behind her on the shelf, like tons of little things in this cover that just make it a really cool cover. Lots of little Easter eggs.
Yeah. I couldn't agree more with that.
Yeah.
The sets are selling right now for this for $85 to $90. The trade dress, I've seen it out there going for around $35, twice that for the Virgin. But a book that has done well in the aftermarket, and I think one that'll sort of hold up over time. But to that point, and I think what upset a little people about this is if you flip to the next slide, Warren Lau actually released a foil on his own store a couple of weeks later for this book, limited to 1,000 that he claimed, and it's actually a very stunning in its own right. I will say this. A lot of the detail gets lost in the foil on this one. I've seen them both, and it doesn't hold up as well. The foil looks quite stunning, but a lot of it sort of doesn't pop as much, and you lose some of it. But I think a lot of people were a little upset by this, where they sort of rushed out to get the original set, and then this one comes out a few weeks later right behind it, and it goes for a similar price, $90 just for the foil, not for the set. And I think some people who bought the other ones were a little put off by that.
Yeah.
This is kind of becoming a practice for artists, though. We had this happen on one of our books where the artist likes their own piece so much that they'll negotiate like an extra cover specifically for them, and it's always comes after the retailer because the retailer has the biggest investment in it. So, you put out your trade and your virgin, and then you buy, like you're saying, people bought them, and then this shows up because it had to show up after the retailer. And then you're like, well, I would have just bought this or whatever the situation was.
Yeah, I mean, you could kind of see this coming a little bit, to be honest with you. I mean, Lau, when he was talking about working on this piece, he was gushing over it. He said, listen, I think this is the best thing I've ever done. I've taken my craft to the next level. Like, he loved this piece. I mean, he was very, very open about that on social media, like how proud he was of it. So, as Ant pointed out, for him to want to sort of secure the rights to have his own release of this makes sense. He recently, I didn't care for it personally, but it did quite well. There was a Power Girl Action 1000 and something that came out last week that seemed to sell. I didn't care for that one nearly as much as this one, but I don't think that he did that for that book. I think it was just whatever the stores that were got behind it sold that one. I don't remember him selling a foil version of that one. It was really just for this one piece.
All right, before we move on, I also want to welcome Tony Blue Green Artifacts to the panel. How are you?
Tony, what's up, buddy?
Good to see you. Merry Christmas, Happy New Year, all that good stuff.
Yep.
Either way, just a beautiful book. All right, so this we got the man behind this book here, but one of the very top performers in the aftermarket in terms of exclusive this year. I mean, Raws are still going for $300 for this, 9/8 selling for twice that. Mm-hmm. Just an absolute home run. Trish Forstner, did an amazing Mario homage here, but one of the top performing aftermarket exclusives this year. And what do you want to say about this one? This is all yours.
I mean, this was kind of a perfect storm when I was looking at concepts for this. No lie, I just bought the Nintendo Switch. What is that thing called? Anyway, you can play all the retro Gen 1, Gen 2 Mario games. And I just bought it and I got all nostalgic. And then we bought like the replica remote for the Switch. And we've been like binge playing the games. And I was racking my brain on this one. I just couldn't think of a concept. And that cover just kept popping into my head. So, I handed it over to Trish. I was like, here, do your thing. This is what I want. Make it the exact thing. Don't break away from it. Because anybody that remembers this game remembers this was the best Mario to play.
Oh yeah, definitely.
So do it right. And she kicked it back legit.
Yeah. I mean, people love this. Even so, there was a late printing of this book. I forget what it was, 4th or something like that. And maybe even later than
we did a 4th printing. They came to us and we're like, can we reprint your cover? And I'm like, change the color just so it has some difference. But yeah.
But that one is also doing, quite well. It had a similar print run, right? It was 500 on that one as well, if I remember.
Yeah, we just do the minimum prints.
And then at one point in time, like the 9/8s were hitting 1K, right? For an all-time high. Maybe a little bit more.
Yeah, I didn't check the all-time high, but I remember being in that zip code for sure at one point.
Yeah. Real early on, I know I sold a couple for like $750.
Nice. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean this is what the market can be if people want to create a genuine collectible, cap the number of books and do something cool. I mean, this is I think there's a big opportunity in this space for people who want to do that, but I think the incentives for a lot of places aren't that. It's about how many can I sell out of the gate, and then less about can I create something really cool for the collectors. And hats off, and this is a home run.
And then shout out to Trish also for working really hard on the text itself, like because I know she studied quite a bit with what Tony about topography and everything, and so like she wanted to get it just perfect to like kind of match up with the game.
Yeah, I know she told me she couldn't find the exact font, so she said she drew that by hand. The font for the text on the top. Yeah. So shout out.
All right. All right. Here's another book that hit big this year. So this is Sabrina Anniversary Spectacular #1. Dan Parent did this cover. It's obviously an homage to Planet Comics #1 by Dave Stevens. This was limited to 200. Raws are currently selling in the 200 range. I think they peaked close to 300 on this one, but just a book that was very simple, but done exceptionally well. The hobby in some ways has been burnt out on homages, but also at the same time still loves them when they're done right. And I think this one, hit the mark. As popular as Planet Comics #1 is, it doesn't seem like it's been overly homaged at this point. That's likely to change given the success of this book, but it's not it's not in the same category as ASM 300 or Spider-Man #1. But yeah, a really well done book, and I think collectors appreciate the limited print runs on these.
Yeah, I think people say that they hate homages, and I will say that there's been way too many of them. But ones that are done right get all of us drooling. You know what I mean?
Totally.
If they're done right, then they hit that part in our brain that just makes us want them. For the right.
I would say there's two things in the homage world, right? Either do it first or do it better, right?
Do it better. Yep.
Right. It's got to be one of those two things, right? If you want to succeed, and if you do one of those two things, it's going to move, in my opinion. They're not going anywhere. It's just like, if you're doing a book that's been homaged to death, find another idea maybe, unless you've got a completely fresh take on it to take it in a new direction. But I don't see that very often.
See, and that's a whole nother. Yee, write these all down, bro. That's a whole nother show. Because like homages, just in retail, like homages are what's selling right now. Like original art, unless you're an Alex Ross or a David Mack or a name of that caliber, which those guys are expensive to work with, or you can't get them at all. Original art isn't worth the money to a retailer, so it's a fine line to walk, man.
It's tough. It is absolutely tough, and I get if you're going to homage something, just try to do something unique that hasn't been overly done. Or if you're going to do it differently or some kind of a spin.
So I shouldn't release my ASM 300 homage I'm doing soon.
I'm sure whatever take you've got on it is gonna kill it. But
I'm just joking. I haven't gone down that path.
Well, that's why Laura and like Sarah and Lucy are watching, so they can have those discussions on Nearing Nerdvana on Fridays.
There you go.
Like, because we usually just do this on Thursdays, where we just talk about different books that catches our eye.
Oh, last note on my book. I know we moved ahead. Laura didn't get it because I know she's watching. She's like, I don't get it. That's not a good one.
She's never mentioned that, but we'll make sure to bring it up.
Let's see. And then Liger mentioned the Buckhead #3 Mario homage, the 1 in 10. I agree, that's a great cover, but on this particular episode, we're just covering different store exclusive variants of 2022. So, but that is a good book to have if you have one, because I know those were definitely under ordered and pretty tough to find at one point in time.
I think we've got a stash of them over at Jonathan's house because I put the wrong shipping address on them.
All right.
All right. Looks like you're in trouble.
When I first saw this book, I'm like, this came out not long after the other one. I'm like, oh man, come on. You guys just did this. Now, I do appreciate this one a little bit more now because, and I probably should have thrown the picture in here, the Planet Comics #1 was solicited with a blue background like this. So it's on the back of Jungle Comics #1. It's on the back. You can see it with a blue background. So that's really what this book is homaging was the solicitation for that book. And then once I sort of realized that, I'm like, you know what? I can get on board with this one. So this one's with Betty and Veronica. They went back to the well on it, but I think given where the inspiration came from this one, I can get on board with this. But the immediate turnaround, I'm like, come on, like you guys just did this. I know it was a home run, but this one isn't performing as well as the other one, but not bad. $150 raw in the secondary market. Same thing, limited to about 200 copies.
Oh, I'm bringing up the picture of that Planet Comics.
Yeah,
Is that
so
what you're talking about?
Yeah, that's the back cover that it was homaging.
All right. Boom.
All right, this book was popular this year. This is obviously an homage to Chambers of Chill, number 19, I believe is the number on that one. I think Mercado is a amazing artist. I wasn't even aware of this one. I kind of stumbled across this book when I was pulling some stuff on the other ones. I vaguely remember it, but I didn't think, I didn't realize it was selling for as well as it did. I think this one was limited to 250, but it sold for as much as $200. And this book has obviously been homaged a lot. I don't think this is honestly one of the better homages for Chamber of Chills, but there's not many out there, and it sells for a pretty decent penny.
Yeah, I definitely knew about this. So shout out to Chai Comic Girl. She was the one that put me onto this book, but I missed the drop, and so like I did not get a copy, and I was kicking myself the entire time that I missed it. But I mean, I do have like what the American Andolfo one, so I'm happy I have that at least. But this is a really cool homage, especially like because it's modeling kind of after the Sabrina from the Netflix series and all that. All right, and we have
didn't Drew do one too?
Yeah, he did one for Haha.
Yeah,
Haha, that was a good one.
yeah, that
and
was really good.
we have another panelist joining us with Ive Comics, Jonathan.
Ive? Oh shit!
Hey.
What's up? What's going on, guys?
What's
So
up,
J's
Joe?
was the H in the Hive, right?
I guess.
Okay,
Yeah.
something like that. But I think the Haha one that came out in 2021, right?
Yeah, that was
I know it's
definitely
pretty
last
recent.
year. It had to have been, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think so. It was like end of last year.
All right.
What do we got next on the list? All right, this book came out of the gates of guns a-blazing.
God.
No pun intended. Pop Kill number 1. This was a Paper Films exclusive, limited to 1,000. There are autographed versions available as well as part of the 1,000 copies. This is still selling for over $200. It wasn't cheap though. It was $100 buy-in. It's a thick book. People missed out on the Kickstarter of this book where she has a shirt on. But this one did quite well. I mean, it sold out, I think, in a handful of hours, and people can't get enough Adam Hughes, I guess.
It's just an awful cover, just horrible.
Are you saying that because you didn't get one?
Just wow. Mama!
I will say this about
That's
Kurt
the
Lunch.
mama of the year right there, bro.
1,000, right? I think people in the hobby, I think a lot of these exclusives over time are going to become true ghosts, like books people absolutely want and can't get their hands on. 1,000 copies of a book is nothing, right? If you think about sought after collectibles, right? And for the exclusive game, for the collectible ones, that's a high print one. When you get down to the hundreds and the 50s and the 25s and all that, I mean, these are books that are going to disappear and never be seen again. So, I think if people take a long-term view on some of these that are done by top artists, like some of these books in years to come are going to be hugely sought after, in my opinion. Like people need to take a much longer-term view on this stuff. Everybody's in it for the quick flip, but if you take a 10-year view on some of these books, I don't think they're going to be anywhere to be found. And I think this is a good example.
Well, a lot of these guys, like Hughes being one of those artists, has such a huge built-in fan base already that a lot of these end up in his collector's hands and they don't leave. And so how many of these end up hitting the secondary market or hit it 2 or 3 times, and it just, like you're saying, as years go by, they're going to get in more pure Hughes collectors' hands that have no interest in ever selling them, and they're just going to sit there.
Yeah, well, what happens early on, right, with this stuff is that there are people who go out and they'll buy a bunch of them, like they'll spec on it, right, with the intention of putting back out in the secondary market. So early on, they're there, right, but as soon as they get gobbled up by collectors and people who hang on to them, they're going to evaporate, right? And I think that goes for a lot of books that we've seen over the last 5 or 6 years, right? They may be out there right now, but over time, they're going to get absorbed into collections and into PCs, and they're going to be tougher and tougher to find. So I think there's a big opportunity in this space. Obviously not for every book. It's like any other comic. Most of them aren't going to hit, but there's going to be a bunch of them that are going to be sought after at some point in the future. And
I know
certainly
this
think it's
one we were kind of wondering if this release was going to impact the original. If people just want the cover, it's pretty similar. You can
I think it's all. I mean, the original is still selling for huge prices. I mean, it hasn't hurt that one at all
since this release. I think if anything, it brought maybe a little bit more attention to it. This was kind of a little bit of a cult following, modern key. Not everybody really knew this book until this release.
Yeah. Oh, well then, and then on top of that, you have Hughes retiring from doing comic covers as well, right? Coming up around the corner. I don't know what his last cover is going to be. And then, like, I'm not going to lie, I bought one intentionally to flip, but not an immediate flip for me, just because, like, I saw that people were, selling them, already for like 3 times the price and all that. And I was like, kind of like, I don't mind like holding it, maybe grading it, and then like selling it down the road at some point in time. For me,
shame on
personally.
you. Can't believe
it. I gotta make money somehow, right?
Right?
I'd like to
stripping on the
know.
weekends ain't working.
I'd like to know how many unsigned ones there are versus signed ones.
All right, because like anyone that was watching the website, that like it kept on changing, the numbers kept on changing of how many signed copies were available versus how many unsigned copies. But I know they like also like released the signed copies before they released the unsigned or something.
What was the print run on either?
I think it was 1,000 across the two, but I think they were just shuffling the availability between the two as,
Okay.
I think they had it split out of the gate, or like 600 for the unsigned, 400 for the signed, or something like that. And then it's because the unsigned was less expensive, they were selling at a higher clip. I think they just kept allocating more to the unsigned bucket, if you will.
Yeah, I got 3 unsigned, and then we sent a couple unsigned to CGC, and got 3 of the double signed.
Do you think his signature hurts that? Because I mean, a lot of his covers already have that exact.
No, so that's not his signature. It's on the back of the book. Hold on, I've got one here. Hold on.
Yeah, it's signed by Amanda Connor and I forget the other person.
Palmiotti?
Is that who it
There's
was?
a signed one right here.
Yeah.
You see it's on the
signed
back
up.
of the book.
Here, let me put you on the big screen real quick.
I think that was smart, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree.
Right, so they kept the signatures off the front.
Yeah. I just sent an Adam Hughes signed book into verification for CBCS, and that one it's just the same, the same symbol that he puts on every book. So
same way he's been signing forever.
Right. Easy.
Well, especially like have you ever seen him at a con? Like his line wraps around the room. Like I saw him like at Emerald City Comic Con one year, and he was like in a corner booth, and it literally wrapped around like the whole edge of a wall for people to like that were just waiting for him to sign something.
Yeah, but he must be able to sign books faster than anybody. I mean, literally. I mean, just
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure he's taking his time too, like to talk to a fan and all that about.
Do you think Jennifer Lawrence would have a good enough sense of humor to sign this? If ever did a sign?
Maybe the Kickstarter one. Probably not this one, right?
I don't know. She's kind of out there.
So whoever has a contact,
if you could get Jennifer Lawrence to sign that, God, she's an Academy Award winning actress, man.
Matt Nelson, if you're listening, try to get Jennifer Lawrence to do a private signing.
Oh my God.
All right.
Oh my goodness.
So we talked about the color version of this book last week, I think, or the week before, maybe. I've lost track of time, but Nathan Serzi did this Wednesday Addams cover. He had a color version and a black and white, limited to 100. And I think the black and white is the winner, in my opinion, just given the character. I just think it works really, really well. But a tough book to find. There are risque versions of this, which I don't particularly care for, limited to 50 each. But I think this one was really well done from an artist that seems to really be kind of hitting the next level. He's done a lot of work this year for DC, and he really starting to push himself in the terms of stuff that he's producing. And I think this is just a great piece of work. It's a tough book. It's very difficult to even find pictures of this thing, which is, why we're getting the picture that we are. But it was, I think the guys at Vault did this book. And it's really just the inside is really just a sketchbook of sketches that he did. It's not really a comic book. It's like a sketchbook.
And you've worked with Zerdy before, right?
Yeah, I have. I don't want to say underrated because he's always been really good, but maybe he just hasn't gotten the respect he deserves yet. His layouts are always nice. The girls are always done well. I mean,
I was going to put your Poison Ivy on this list. It was just like I had so many of your books on this list.
I know, right?
I thought that foil was absolutely gorgeous, like really well done.
Yeah, he went all out on that one. Like that was a character he wanted to do really bad, so it worked out.
But some of the major publishers have starting to pick him up too, right? To do work, if I'm not mistaken. Because I'm pretty sure I've seen them do like FOC books now.
He did a B variant for it was a Batgirl cover, but I wanted to say it was like the zombies or DC versus vampires, and Batgirl's got the double crossbows and she's walking with it. I thought that was a great cover for a B cover.
Beautiful. He's doing like 2 or 3 covers a month for DC. Actually, he has a huge body of work for DC right now. His first one was a 1 in 25 for Deathstroke, I believe. I forget who was it. Black Canary. I forget who was on the cover, but that was his first mainstream work, I believe.
When did this one come out?
Just earlier this year, like a couple of months ago.
Was it before the show?
Yeah, it was before the show. I posted something on Instagram for the color version. I'm like, this is probably 2 months ago. I was like, I'd come across the color version somewhere, and I was like, oh, this must tie into the Wednesday show in some way. But I think he was just he must have been
just looking at some of the comments. I when I first saw this, I didn't see it till recently, but I kind of agreed with that. This is a character, the old version's a grade schooler. And this new version's and barely in high school.
Yeah, she's 16.
But I can't speak for him, but I guess I would guess that since this came out before the show, this was kind of envisioned as an adult version.
Yeah, I mean this was the first signs of this came out at the same time they were marketing the show, so I think he was. But I would say this. I mean, look at Betty and Veronica. Look at there's countless characters, right, that you could make the same argument about.
And because it's not a mainstream title, like it's not like Wednesday's issue, it could be a cosplay cover.
That's how they market it. That's exactly how they market it. So.
I mean, hasn't Zerdy done this with Daphne and Velma
in the Jetsons and countless others?
Yeah, no, I think there's kind of cheesecake, images of pretty much every character out there. I don't know why it rubs me the wrong way on this one. Maybe it's just because it's a live action character. I don't know.
I'm with you, Tony. I feel the same way about it.
I have a daughter. Maybe that's
it's beautiful. It's beautiful artwork, but that's where I'm at with it. I'll leave it alone. Not for me.
Well, it's probably also like the show had just come out too recently,
Yeah.
so that's probably like fresh in everyone's mind if you
Right.
watch that series. So
Yeah.
like, yeah. But I mean, I think people would grab like pitchforks and everything if this had been released after the show, right?
Yeah, that's a good point. I mean, they're selling after the show. I don't know how well they sold before, to be honest with you. But yeah, I have no idea how well these. But they've been selling. They've been selling better recently. But yeah, I mean, he's got a long list of, I would say, books that sort of fall into this same sort of you know.
Well, he did like a whole
Category.
run of like Pharaoh's Lounge books. Remember, like he was doing like Princess Leia dressed as Boba Fett in a bikini, and it.
Oh yeah.
I mean, that whole Pharaoh Lounge run from 2 years ago, where they just did every pop culture female character mashups you could think of.
No, I forgot about that.
Hmm. I will say he's a super nice guy. I met him in person like 3 years ago, I think, at a little, really small con in Ohio. Super nice. He did like
Yeah, I
free
met him too
remarks.
a year ago. I met him at Rhode Island not this year, to last year, and like the most humble, nice guy you've ever met in your life. I bought an Archie from him. It was like a superhero Archie comic from him that was that had a bubble gum in the background. I'm like, all right, I'll take this one. But yeah, a super nice guy, and he was sketching all day long. Like people wanted like sketch covers, and he was cranking them out like nonstop.
All right, let's see what we have next because I know we have quite a bit.
Yeah, we're not even close. All right, so obviously, I got to be honest. I don't particularly love this book, but I feel like it would be impossible not to talk about it, just given how well it's done. I think this was limited to 5,000. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I think this was a 5,000 print run on this book.
Mm-hmm.
At least what people said. This book is still going for about $200. Eminem and Spider-Man. Obviously, this reaches across a lot of different fan bases and people who can't seem to get enough of it. So just absolutely came out screaming. For me, it doesn't do a whole heck of a lot, but it certainly spoke to the community. People were buying it left and right.
I expect to see Virgin variants of this at cons as early as March.
You think so?
Yep.
Somebody said that like if this was with Anthony Mackie as Falcon, it would have been funnier, and I would agree. That actually would have been.
Yeah, Papa Doc, bro.
Joe, this comment's for you. You have that Marky Mark cover, don't you?
You goddamn right, I got that Marky Mark cover, bro.
Do you have it near you?
No,
Okay.
I have it put away.
That's all good. So
It's
there's
a funky
already
bunch, bro.
Yeah, there's already a Marky Mark cover out there for all.
That's crazy.
Yeah,
So
and the art's not great, right? Like, am I crazy or it's?
No, I don't. For me, it doesn't do anything for me, honestly. Personally,
it kind of surprised me. It was a LaRocca cover, to be completely honest.
Yeah, I mean, when I missed it because I wanted to order one, like I heard about it super late, so I was on the late show, but I wasn't super sad I couldn't get one because I didn't love it. I like the idea of it more than I like it itself.
So does anyone have to sign off on something like this?
Well, so this came off his website, wasn't it?
Yeah.
And then he had signed versions, which what was the price for the signed version?
300 and something.
313, right? 313.
Yeah, for the 313. Yeah, I couldn't remember exactly what it was. Yeah, but yeah, I know a lot of people.
313.
Yeah. Because and I was surprised that even sold out, right? Even at that high price tag.
It sold out instantly.
Yeah, I'm not.
People. He doesn't sign a ton of stuff, but that's like if you look at his website, that's what most of it is. If he does his signed releases get dropped on his website. So when he puts out a new album, he'll do like 1,000 copies that are signed or 100 copies that are signed, and it makes himself some extra money. But
and the whole thing with this too, right? That whoever was distributing out the comics for this, like they didn't pack them very well. So I saw that a lot of people were getting damages on this.
Yup.
I like the fact that Eminem's wearing the goblin colors.
That's pretty good. I missed
Right?
that. Yeah, that's pretty clever.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
I mean that's kind of what hit it for me. I mean I thought it was cool as shit. You know, now would this book have even gone further if that's Miles standing there? You know, I don't know, but I mean, you've got Miles in the background, but if you have Miles Morales standing up against Eminem about to battle, that this book takes on another. You know, I think this book is more expensive if Miles is on the cover.
Nah, you do Miles and Flava Flav, and that will be dope.
I think Deadpool's a better fit.
No, it should be Post Malone and Miles.
Oh God.
There you go.
Oh God. I'm just happy to see this book doing well, because there was a lot of people that thought this was going to be a $50 book by now. So
No, this book will hold. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, a 9.8 sold for 1,000. So
Well, you cross boundaries with a book like this, right? You hit music collectors and you hit comic collectors.
Yeah.
And you do it on one of the biggest titles that Marvel has. You do it on Spider-Man. I
Right,
mean,
that makes sense.
This
Like,
book's never
because,
going to be a dollar bin book. This book's
No.
never going to be a cheap book. It's
Yeah, and I would say even at 5,000, I know, like, you know, for people who collect rare books, that's not particularly rare, but 5,000 is still quite generally nothing in the terms. If it's a book that's sought after, think about any big book, right? There's hundreds of thousands of copies that go for huge money, right? So 5,000 in the grand scheme of things is pretty small, right? It's so I can see these things just sort of people grabbing them, sitting on them, and you know,
because you know, Ben, can you guys hear me?
Yeah.
Because I mean, you got to figure if there's only 5,000 books, you figure a bunch of people probably got multiple copies. So it's not like 5,000 individual people have this book.
yeah. I mean,
Even
when
if they did, I mean, like the hobby's bigger than 5,000 people, right?
Of course,
I mean, like,
absolutely.
Yeah.
well, think about how many Eminem fans there are out there also that didn't find out about this book until like it got, I guess, publicized more, right?
Yeah, I mean, when he teased this, it had what 4.8 million likes or something like that. So even if 1% of that wanted this book, that's still 480,000 people. So
Damn, good at comics and good at math. Jeez.
yeah,
Getting it.
all right. So this couldn't talk about this without talking about this one. So thehall.com, I believe, were the guys behind this one. 1,000 of them. It's selling for a premium over the other one, a fairly substantial premium. You know, just the black and white background. You know, same. Same thing. But this one, because it's harder to come by, is getting a nice little bump.
And again, expect to see. I mean, it's the Hall's Read Pop. Expect to see a Virgin variant at conventions.
I would not be surprised, right? At all. It's hard to resist that for people, right? To like create something that pops and then sell it again with a little bit of a tweak to it. I don't know. You know, I mean, we'll see how it holds up. I mean, if they're going to sell this at conventions, I would imagine they better have a lot of them, just because I think people are going to pay for it. I mean, just given the demand for this one. So,
all right, I want to thank
All right.
Cal L for a super chat of $20. That is very generous. Do I have? I don't know what to play, but
you should play Lose Yourself.
oh wait.
Mom spaghetti.
Actually, my friend actually knew how to play that.
Super chat. Super chat. Super chat. Sorry, I can't hit that octave like I do.
All right, thank you, Cal.
Many years, boys.
Much appreciated.
just super chatting. Yeah.
All right. Well, while we're on the topic, Deadpool #1. Was this 3,000? I thought this one was. I could be wrong on that. I thought this one was limited to 3,000. If somebody has a different number, by all means, let me know. But Biggie in Deadpool. Hip hop meet comics seems to always pop, and this one is doing well as well. Right, $85 to $120. We see this one sell for regularly.
I want to say I think I saw a COA for this that said 3K, but I
think that's correct.
Yeah.
Should have done it with Wham.
Oh, that would have made sense, right?
Right?
That would have been funny.
Wait, who would you put on?
I
who
don't
would you
mind this
rather
one as
see
much.
on the
I
cover
think this
with
one's better
Biggie
than the
than?
other one.
Who would you rather see on the cover with Biggie?
Ooh, who would I rather see on the cover with Biggie?
I don't know, Kingpin.
Oh,
Yeah,
that
that
would've
would
been
be
good.
cool.
Yeah, that could have been cool.
Yeah, good call on that.
Wolverine with Ludacris. Oh,
I think Deadpool with Ludacris.
oh no, or Deadpool with Bruno Mars.
Yeah.
All right, we can keep moving here.
All
We'll
right.
be here all night.
Oh,
all
my
right,
goodness.
the Hive Boys are here, but I gotta say this is an absolutely beautiful comic. If you have not seen it in person, and I give the Hive guys a lot of credit because I feel like this is the book that really started to put Villalobos on the next level. Like this opened a lot of eyes, but
Yeah.
Gun Honey Blood for Blood #1. Villalobos, Pablo Villalobos, a super nice guy. Metal variant, limited to just 50 copies. And the metal treatment on this book is perfect for a book like this. Absolutely stunning. One of my favorite books of the year. Guys, what do you got to say about this one?
We got to give credit to Lobos on, like we came to him with basic concepts like we do.
Like that one.
I think the cool thing that people, a lot of people took away from this one and the other covers is like his incorporation of the honeycomb in the background or on the tiles and stuff like that. And that was kind of his thing. Like he came to us and said, "Hey guys, I think this would be cool if I did this. What do you think?" And like we're like, "Hell yeah!" I don't know why we haven't been doing this for the last 2 years. It was such a cool but simple idea. But and the dude's a perfectionist. I mean, a lot of back and forth to make sure it was just to his liking and just to ours. And they all, I mean, this and the other two came out amazing. So.
Yeah, I mean, he's done some work recently, and I know this is a conversation, guys, that we had chatting, but like the coloring and the inking on his work, like he's very particular. And sometimes I see some of his work that gets released that just doesn't look like him. Like the coloring is wrong, the inking is wrong. There was a book that just came out this today, I think, actually, with Black Cat, which you can see it's him, but it's just something it's not working with the book. Like I don't know who inked it or colored it, but it just didn't feel like some of his best stuff. And it should have been. Like I think the bones of it were perfect, but like he's pretty particular about.
He is his #4 cover that he did. It was colored first by a different colorist, and he said, "No. He's like, if you put that out, I'm going to take my name off the book."
Oh.
Yeah, so we'll get to that. We have that book actually on here because I couldn't say no to it. But yeah, this one, I mean, the energy on this book is just perfect. And like when it comes to metals, like there's no better metal than this book. It's really absolutely perfect. So hats off, guys.
And then if I'm not mistaken, the storyline is about the Bond girls, that like their perspective of whatever adventures that Bond went on. Is that somewhat accurate? I haven't read it, so I don't know.
I believe she actually hides guns for
Bond.
Yeah, she sets guns in hiding places.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So this is issue number 2. This is an homage that I can assure you has never been done before. Done by the soon to be legendary Jeff DeCall.
Yeah.
Medals on this one are limited to 75. Correct me if I'm wrong on the numbers, guys. This is just what I remember, but I believe medals on this were limited to 75 and the foils were to 300.
Yeah.
Could be wrong, but I think those were the numbers. But absolutely beautiful. I would say on this book, I got both the medal and the foil for both of these, 2 of each actually. But I think something about the foils on this one just came out really well.
We've never had a better foil. Like we've never the paper stock, the way the foil was laid on the cover. We've never had a foil like seeing this one in person and the highlights on the gun and her earrings and stuff on the foil was just it's such insane depth to it that that's the type of stuff that you don't know how that's going to turn out until it's printed. And it turned out better than we ever could have expected. It's been amazing. We've seen a lot of repeat customers on the foil, like that bought one and then got it and then came back and bought another one or two, just because how much they liked it. So.
I'm still waiting for my comps, I guess.
I'll shoot you one. I still got a couple.
Wink face.
I got you.
So you still have a couple of this?
Yeah, we still have a couple of this. I think we've got a couple of all of them. Like we don't have
how much?
Not the medals. I think medals are long gone on damn near all of them.
On this one, no, we have medals left of this one.
Do we?
Yeah.
Claim.
Go grab them, man. Go grab them.
They're on the website.
Okay.
Yeah.
Whoa, Joe. Whoa, you're already claiming, Joe.
So, we talked about before. If you're going to homage, do it better or do it first.
Yeah.
I was going to say this is the first DeCall homage. I'd say this is the first DeCall homage of a comic, but there was actually an artist that homaged DeCall before this, but they homaged a sketch that he had done, and it's a beautiful work by another artist I absolutely love, Gerard Perel. Homaged a DeCall painting for it was Spider-Man City of War #1. I don't know if you've seen this, but I should have put it on here. It's absolutely beautiful. And for the longest time, I was thinking you guys were the first guys to do it. But like, wait a minute, Perel did that sketch that he had done, which the original sketch was of X-23 and Nightcrawler, I believe, but Perel's was Black Cat and Spider-Man, the video game versions of it, which is, if you haven't seen that book, it's exceptionally well done. But yeah, nobody else has ever homaged this book. I don't think this is the last time we're going to see this book homaged, just given how this book is blowing up. The original is blowing up in the market. So hats off to you guys for being brave and going out and doing something like this. So
yeah, thanks for the push towards it.
No, man, I'm glad you heard me out on it. So, yeah, a beautiful book that I'm super happy to own.
Yeah, I don't know if we talked about that. I don't know if we hit on that real quick, but we've been Mr. Longshort had hit us up, maybe not even a month before we talked to Lobos about this, and you were talking about how you picked up another one of the DeCall variants. And we're showing us pictures, and we'd happen to be in conversation about, well, what do we do for Gun Honey 2? And then as soon as you sent that picture across, me and Jonathan, like almost at the same time, are messaging each other like, let's do a DeCall. Let's see if Lobos is willing to do it. And he loved the idea, So it was good. It was like Ant with his Nintendo story with his 8 billion genies. It was kind of like it was just perfect timing,
Yeah, it's funny how that stuff sort of works itself out, but yeah. And just like the touches on the metal on this one, on the metal books and the foils, like her earrings and the gun, like like you've got to see these in person. These pictures really don't do it justice.
Yeah. I think when I saw this, and just to put the cherry on top, like I'm an uber competitive person. Like when people show me their covers, I'm like, oh, it's fine. Like I hate giving compliments. And I saw it, and I can't remember. We were talking about something else, and I'm like, hey, I saw that Gun Honey. I'm like, all right, those are badass. Those are really good covers. And I never compliment other retailers. Like I'm always like, oh, that's cool. That's about all you'll get out of me. But yeah, I was like, all right, like a legit.
Yeah, man, you
like,
got to have
these
that
are
competitive
really
drive, right,
fantastic.
man? You just it keeps you sharp.
I don't have it in me. I'm such a hater. It's crazy.
Well, and I thought it was genius to put the homage on issue 2 because of Forgive Me, Father #2.
Yep.
Yeah.
I think that's why we get along so well, Ant.
Yeah.
Because I'm an ass.
All right. I fucked this up. This is number 4. This is number 3. So
I
apologies.
thought you were going to say
There was
something.
there was no number 4 for Lobos in this run. This is number 4. So please
That's fucking beautiful.
make that adjustment. So this one is stunning. I can't wait to see the metal and the foil treatment for this book. Did you guys do this in foil? Actually, or it was definitely in metal, but did you do a foil?
Yeah, we did foil on these.
The
Okay.
foils, hopefully the foils will be in within like 2 more weeks.
Okay.
And then the metals it's probably going to be about 4 weeks for the metals.
Yeah.
I think the pink metal is going to be sexy though.
Yeah, it's gonna be interesting. We've
I
never
can't
done
wait to
pink on
see it.
metal.
I'm like super excited for this one. Obviously, it's a bubblegum cover. I like bubblegum covers, as everybody knows. And this one is just perfect. The coloring is perfect. You guys actually showed me the original coloring before Lobos came in and did it himself, and this is like infinitely better than the original one, which just didn't work. But yeah, just an absolute banger of a book.
Well, him recoloring this is why it was an issue 4, not an issue 3, and we had to put that faith in him because he was like, he put his foot down pretty well, and he was like, well, you can take my name off it, and you guys release it and do what you want with it, but I can do better. And so we trusted him. We said, all right, we'll push it back to issue 4, and we're happy with
that integrity. I just want to stop right there for a second. Like, if you're going to ask customers to pay premium prices for exclusives, like, give them something really good, right? Like, be willing to do what you guys did, saying, you know what, we're gonna push this out because we want a better book, right? And I think having those standards is super important in this. I think far too many people just put shit out to put it out without having any real care behind it, and you got to love what you're doing if you want the people to love it. So hats off.
Thank you.
I do think I thought we limited this one to 50 medals.
I might have. I was being conservative. So yeah, I mean, maybe. Yeah. So apologies. You guys will obviously know better than me. So.
All right. We have another person. Go ahead, Brandon.
No, I was just going to ask Hive. So on your site, you have a virgin foil and a metal. That's 3 books.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm going to buy it.
All right. And we have another panelist joining us from Nearing Nirvana, Miss Bird City.
Yay.
How's it going?
Hi, guys.
My favorite Bird City person.
I mean, there's not much competition, though, right? Come on.
You got to choose one of the children. That's the easiest.
I was
answer.
fine with the first comment. Okay.
Ant would have been my first, but he didn't call me back yesterday, so
I would have called you back.
I know.
There you go.
And that's
I
why
called
you're my
Jonathan today.
Yeah, I answered.
I actually answered the phone. You know what's funny, Laura, is I called Jonathan, and you want to know the first thing I said?
What?
I didn't call back James.
What do we say in our house?
I don't know. We say
He
a
said,
lot of
what-
things.
Didn't you say, what do you hate me?
I said, wait, why do you hate me?
Why do you hate me? Whenever we don't get what we want, that's what we say.
I think that's for another podcast, but
Yeah.
So, hello? I'm like, why do you hate me?
Oh
He's
God,
like,
this is on here. Yeah.
All right. I can't say enough about this book real quick. Real quick before we get into this, $4.99 super sticker.
from
Cuevas, thank you so much. We really, really appreciate that. And Aaron's gonna jam for you here.
Give me some Metallica. God. Scotty doesn't know. Scotty doesn't know.
It's a Blink-182 song.
It sounded familiar.
Thank you so much. Thank you so
Thanks.
very much. We really appreciate that more than you know.
So Max and
did it
City
on his
Collectibles. So I
birthday.
have met Lobos before, and that was through Hive and that Spider-Man booth, JPG McFly.
Wasn't that MegaCon last year?
It was at
Yeah.
MegaCon, and I
APG
was wearing
Squad, we
my
worked with
I was
them.
wearing my Astros hat, and then he was saying, he's like, "Oh, I live in X city," and I was like, "Oh, that's like 10 minutes away from me." So, but it's funny, I still haven't hit him up just to like say what's up or anything like that, which I think I told him I would, but
Yeah,
I feel
he's
bad.
a
about
great.
that
He's
now.
a great dude. He's a great family guy.
Yeah,
he's-
yeah. So I figured he was busy with family, and I'm always busy with something else, like whether it's
Yeah.
band stuff or a podcast or just other comic stuff or work.
Yeah, I mean, I've spoken to him online. He couldn't be nicer. I mean, the nicest guy. He actually pointed me in the direction of his first cover. This is Josh's, which I still have not freaking mailed. This is Josh. It's literally, I've got a stack of books I have to mail here. This is his first cover. They only made 100 of them. He signed every single one of them. So this will eventually find its way to Josh before 2024. I promise you. But his Lobos' very first cover. Now he did some interiors before this,
Oh, let me put you on the big screen. My bad.
but a very, very, very difficult book to find because there were literally 100 made, and he signed all of them.
Oh, that's cool.
It was so funny. I was like, maybe Ben got me as a secret Santa, and he'll just mail me that.
Dude, I've got like I'm gonna, you know what? I'm working from home tomorrow. I haven't worked from home in forever, and I'm gonna put it in the goddamn mailbox first thing tomorrow. So
You haven't mailed it? Oh my god.
it's just sitting here, and I've got to mail my Daredevil #1 to Joe to press, which I'm nervous about, but I'm gonna do it.
Oh, man, don't be nervous. I got you, bro.
Out of it for 6.
It'd be the smartest decision you ever made, bro.
All right.
And then they call me Bruce has picked the favorite Bird City
Oh
person.
gosh. That's probably true though.
She's been on 2 podcasts, and she's already more famous than both of y'all, right?
Thank you. You guys, I'm saying it here and now. There's something coming. And Ellie may or may not be the creator / writer of the thing that's coming.
Oh, that is
If you guys want
awesome,
more detail-
dude.
If you guys want more details, PayPal us $5 at Hive Comics online or gmail.com.
My Cash App is the same as my Instagram.
Conversation I had with Ant.
I want a signed copy. I want to be the
Anthony's
first to
fan-
have a signed copy.
My feet.
I called it. I want to be the first to have the signed copy.
But Laura and I got the completed story yesterday, and we read it, and it's pretty damn good. But anyway, back to this beautiful.
Yeah,
Brooks
sorry,
cover.
we're getting sidetracked.
All right. Back to the comics, I guess. All right. For my money, the underrated book of the year. So this is Brooks Kim. So we talked about if you're going to be in this business of doing exclusives, do it first, do it better. Huge props to Bird City. They reached out to Brooks Kim, had never done a comic cover before. This is the second one, but there was a first one that they also put out. But nobody else, right, had ever approached, my understanding, the artist for comic book work, and being willing to bring new stuff to the community is something that should not go underappreciated. Right, the community needs that, and for me, like, this is an absolutely stunning piece of work. I don't know what it is about it, but it just really hits on all cylinders for me, and just an absolutely beautiful book.
Yeah,
On
I
the
gotta give Laura the props on this one. She's the one that found Brooks Kim.
No,
And guys,
no,
this is how new.
That's not true. Well, that's kind of true.
I mean,
I found it from Ben. He had posted
Oh,
something
did you?
from Brooks Kim on his IG, which I do not stalk, I swear. But I remember thinking, this artist is distinctive. They're unique.
so
they're
why did you tell me that
collectible.
you found it then?
Well, because I'm your wife. Of course I'm going to say that. I
Take
benefit
credit.
from most of that.
She did.
So,
She
hold on.
found
So
it.
this is how-
She brought it to you, right? So I mean,
There you go. There you go. I
Brought
get
it
some
to me.
credit.
Big on me.
No,
That's the important thing.
This was definitely a Ben thing. I saw the artist on your page and I was like, this is somebody that I think could really become collectible if kind of guided the right way.
She
So,
does great portraits.
yeah.
And then this is
Yeah,
how
I
you
was
get the
gonna
origin
say,
of how long
this is
story
how-
short story.
Yeah, this is how new this person was. I actually had to get Trish to send me a blank Photoshop, like measured out and done
Yeah.
like in comic book format to send to him to draw on because he had never done it in the dimensions necessary. And he's like, "Can you send me a blank like Photoshop?" And I'm like, "I don't know how to do that." So I'd ask Trish to do it, and that's how he laid it out because he had never done these before.
It's hard to do a
Or she.
standout on a Vampirella variant, and it's ballsy as hell to do a Vampirella variant as a retailer because they
Yeah.
already do 15 themselves.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And to have to put one out that's like as iconic as this one could potentially be in the future, I think you guys killed it with this one. This one was really good.
Yeah.
Thank you. It reminds me of like an old, like, I mean, aside from the
Medieval.
super sex appeal, like an old painting you'd see in like a
Yeah.
haunted castle.
Yep.
She
Yeah,
stares
the
at you.
greens in the back, all of it, just really. I love this book. I absolutely love this book. I think it's completely underappreciated. You guys didn't do medals for this one, right? You did it for issue number 1, but not for this one. Is that right?
Vampire one. We
don't
did do
know.
medals for that one. We didn't.
Yeah, that
we
was the
didn't do medals
Tau,
for this one.
which I did grab one of those.
All right.
That's weird. We
And
should
one
have
of my
medals.
favorite people in podcasting joining us, Brian McClay.
Oh,
And
all right.
we got like a full house now.
Yeah.
Wow, look at all these people. Hell yeah. What's going on, everybody? Laura, hello.
Hi.
Anthony,
Do we
Yee,
fit better
what up,
this way?
Mr. Long Short. The whole crew is here. Holy shit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Man, I'm getting into the New Year spirit, bro.
Yeah, man. Fucking A. This is what we're talking about. This is how to
Yeah.
do it.
Well, Brian,
All
thanks for joining us, man. Flattered that you hopped on. Thank you so much.
Of course. Hell yeah, man. This is
I
fun.
wouldn't say flattered.
Shut up.
All right,
All
guys. I'll
right.
see you later. Have a good New Year.
he's like, I left the podcast for this.
What do we got going on?
So yeah, we're just talking about the 2022 exclusives of the year. Oh dang, we're getting all the super chat money in today. Nimesh dropping a $50
Damn, dude.
super
The
chat.
mesh.
So I gotta
Thank
come
you
up with
so
another song to
much.
play now.
Wow.
Yeah, Nimesh, you can send books anytime, bro. I'm all caught up now, so
Yeah, there you go.
I got to press some books from Nimesh. I'm gonna hook him up.
Hey, can we throw one of these in as a giveaway since we're getting so many super
Yeah,
chats?
sorry, I totally screwed up on that. Yes, I spoke to Ann about this ahead of time about giving one of these away tonight, and more than graciously offered to say absolutely. So, how do we do it?
Okay, so all you have to do is participate in chat.
Oh,
so let
Laura.
me get that set up right now, and then I will move on to the next book as I'm getting that set up.
Laura, was that you negotiating on my behalf?
What do you mean? Probably.
I haven't talked to Longshore today.
Yes, you.
Oh.
Oh, wait, no, that maybe.
Are you
that
trolling?
No,
Yeah,
it was a
IG
couple
and
days ago. It
responding
was a
as
couple
me?
of days. Sorry, and I reached out probably 2 or 3 days ago, maybe about this. But
You never know.
I'm
who
sure
you're
I
talking
spoke to one of you
guys.
guys about that book.
I'm
If
just
you-
joking.
Yeah.
Laura does this thing where she'll jump on my IG and I'll ask her to respond to people, and she'll like misspell a word or put punctuation out of place on purpose to make me sound like me.
Oh, Merce not going to make it tonight. He had to work late, or he had to go to work tonight, or something like that. So he couldn't make it.
Yeah.
We
But
are as
he'll-
upset as you
he'll be
guys
back.
were. Trust me.
Yeah.
All right, real quick on this book. So a couple of points on this one. I just think this is a beautiful Nakayama of Shuri. This was available both in Virgin and in trade dress. The trade dress here, obviously, just a stunning Nakayama book. But I'd say the cautionary tale on this one is as beautiful it is I think this book was heavily printed, undisclosed of what the numbers were. And right now it's available from the retailer for $7.50 for the trade dress and $15 for the Virgin, which are both basically half price of when the book came out, which is not a knock, but just if you're going to be paying premium prices for these books, I think it's honestly unethical for people not to like let their buyers know what they're buying into, because if you're asking people to drop $50 on a set, they should damn well know what they're buying, right? Because if you printed 8,000 copies of this thing, I don't think it's fair really to charge those prices. And if you are going to charge those, let people know.
But Ben, is that the retailer's fault or the buyer's fault?
I think it's the retailer's fault, honestly.
Yeah,
the buyers, like, this is a beautiful book. Like, you look at this and like, this is exceptionally well done. People are going to be drawn to it, right? They're going to want to buy it. I think the retailers should have, in my opinion, the ethics of saying, okay, this is how many of these we made of this, right? So what you're getting into. And I think far too many times in my experience that people, certain retailers they hide that on purpose, and it's just a lot to ask for someone to drop on a book that's not particularly.
Print runs should be out there for every book. Period.
There needs to be public information from the publishers directly. It really does. Anybody should be able, just like a CGC census, anybody should be able to go on a Marvel website and pull print runs, or DC website and pull print runs, or Dynamite and pull print runs. Like it should just be that way.
Well, shouldn't fall on the shoulders of some of the distribution too as well now? I mean, I know there's a split between
publishers and distributors should be the ones making the stance on that. Retailers that do it, that's good on us that do it. But it should be, publishers should be like, listen, this is how much we printed of it.
Yep, should come down from the top.
Yep.
That's pretty. I mean, print run is pretty public knowledge now. So like, we
minimum
don't know
print
image
run
print run minimum
print run
500,
and so everyone can assume that it's at the very least it's the minimum print run. But then,
right.
But then
So
what happens?
when
What happens when you get permission to do sub minimum print runs? Because that does happen on occasion. It doesn't happen very often.
Copies.
But it does happen.
It seems to be the same guys. No, again, side combo. People just spend responsibly. Like, if somebody goes, "Oh, there's 250," and the minimum is 500, like, don't give them your money, and it doesn't become a problem after a while.
Or ask for proof. Just ask.
Listen, I have no problem if people want to destroy books to make it a more collectible. Great. I actually don't have an issue with it necessarily, but there needs to be some audit or evidence of that, right? You just can't be. And if they're lying about it, we talked about in the beginning, that is fraud. That is not anything. It's not being cute. It's not being creative. It's fraudulent, right? If you to mislead your customers into thinking that they're buying something rarer than it really is, and I think it's.
Let me ask the retailers a question: are you guys selling books to read, or are you selling collectibles?
Collectibles. We're collectibles dealers.
Yeah. So once you put in that collectible word, then in my opinion, you should say how many there are, because when it comes to a collectible, one of the main things about a collectible is rarity and knowing how many are out there. And as soon as you say collectible, the first thing that pops into anybody's head, whether right or wrong, is that there's some value to it, right? And so in order to know that there's a value to it and to consider that value be a reason for you buying, you should know how many there are out there. How many people do we see these days that get angry when they find out that it would be like Bird City reprinting a cover on another book that you've done again and again, the exact same cover to the T. It would piss those people off that bought the original book. You wouldn't do it.
Yeah.
The issue is when you have retailers that don't disclose or retailers that participate in shady practices, what it does is it creates doubt in the collectability in the collector's market across a wide spectrum. So you have to be guys like Aunt Laura and guys like me and Jonathan that are very outspoken about being very upfront with our print runs, because if you sit the middle ground, people are going to assume one way or the other. Yeah. They're going to assume that you're honest or you're not. You be outspoken like us and say, hey, listen, shoot us an email. We'll send you deal memos. And we have had people take us up on that offer. We've had people that talk shit on print runs on Discord. This happened like a year and a half ago. We had some dude that was ripping us apart on a Discord. It was like, there's no way this print run's true and blah, 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 and ripped us apart. And so we dropped the deal memo there on the Discord. And the guy's like, hey, I'm sorry. But like,
Was that on
Like
the
you can do
the
one
last
way or the
round?
other. Sit in the middle ground. To me, as far as retailers go, sit in the middle ground doesn't change anything, and it can be scary when you look forward to the future of the collectability in the comics market if people aren't 100% always honest about print runs, or if there's not a way to keep those people that aren't 100% honest accountable. And right now there's no way to keep them accountable. So
we were talking about this in chat
Wild West.
today. What is stopping, aside from the being a pain in the ass for you guys, what is stopping retailers from hand numbering?
The printers, the publishers don't do it. I
No,
mean, the bigger
hand-
publishers won't.
Hand numbering.
hand numbering,
Well-
it CGC.
So,
Right, it would mess
so
up the value of it,
in,
right?
Ger-
So-
in Germany, the Panini books, those are all hand numbered on the back.
Yeah.
So they do
Yeah,
like / you know, whatever their print run
And
is,
that's
like
been standardized.
333.
My understanding is because that's been standardized with Panini, it actually doesn't reflect. And Josh could tell us more about that, but I don't think it reflects poorly when it goes to CGC. I don't
Yeah,
think
they show back
CGC
up blue
adopts
labels.
that or even green labels it. But machined numbering is certainly a good option, but it's an expensive option. You're talking sometimes with certain printers, it's $1 or more per book to have them numbered. And that's great if you're constantly selling out of your books. But if you're going to spend $1,000 extra on a book to individually number them and you only sell 200, you know, your
Yeah.
ROI
if you
on
give
that
the
is
option-
$5 per book. And that's hard pill to swallow.
My understanding, and maybe I'm wrong, I'm not Matt Nelson, but if you guys as retailers are the first ones to send them into CGC, if you send 5 copies in or whatever to get graded, and inform them, because this is your edition and belongs to nobody else, inform them that, hey, these are all hand numbered. You know, on the bottom right, you can put the notation and the details up in the right corner. Because I have a lot of CGC graded books that are hand numbered, but green labels.
All right,
Well,
before we
what
move
if
on
you-
to the next book real quick, we got a $9.99 super chat from Steve, My Bargain
Hey.
Comics.
Hey,
Thank you so
Steve.
much.
Thank you very much, man. That is super nice.
You got to sing a Tosin song.
Super
what
chat.
if you put that off onto the buyer, like, is there a printer out there that like would give you guys the ability to print one-offs? Like, say if you said it cost $1 to do that per book, and then you gave the option to the buyer, hey, if you want your book numbered, it's going to cost you $5, right? And then, you know, you made a little bit of money off of it, but they got their books numbered. Will a printer let you do that on
I don't
the
know.
small?
I don't
Probably
know.
not.
That's a good question. I don't think so.
I think the printer that you would get that would agree to that is probably not going to be. There's certain printers that guys like us like to work with, right? And then there's printers that we don't. I don't know about Aunt and Laura, but when we hear that any of one of our books is being printed at a certain printer in Canada, we start crying inside because we know the paper quality we're going to get. And there's certain printers that have great, you know, ethics and great product, and there's ones that don't. And I don't know. I mean, to answer your question, I don't know. I don't know if it would be a sellable thing, and if it's not a sellable thing, like I said, you take the hit. And as a retailer, especially this year, as a retailer taking that extra hit on books that's scary. That'd be really scary. But as far as individually numbering them, Tony, I mean, I don't know if we heard directly from CGC that was an option, and that's something we could offer to our customers as hey, there's a blank spot on the back. If you want us to individually number them by hand, we're more than happy to.
Mm-hmm.
CGC used to offer something like that. CGC used to offer something like that where you can send them your entire print run and say limit it to 1,000. They would dispose of them for you, and they'd number them on the label. But they don't do that anymore.
Collectibles did that a few times. Yeah,
it's
they
a
don't
lot
do
of
that
work
anymore, though.
so they don't do it.
Yeah,
because I tried to get them to do it for something.
Yeah, I imagine that's why you can't do it. You know, with obviously the larger print runs, because you got to change the printers up. But I wonder if they're. Man, you would think that the printers would be like have the ability to. It feels like they're stuck in the archaic, like
they are
40s and 20s. You know what I mean?
You got to think about damages too, though. Like, let's say that they do print them, and 1 through 20 are the damaged box you get. You know, people want one of 200, and there's too many variables that go into it. The point is spend your money on the ones you guys know. Like the bare minimum print runs are out there. You guys know which publishers require what. So if you got somebody that says I've got an image book and there's 200 copies of it, call shenanigans and just don't give them your money. There's no point in trying to call them out because they're not going to answer you and they don't have to. They can go, we're doing numbered COAs. Prove that you destroyed them. They don't have to. So just be careful who you give your money to.
Exactly.
Choose wisely.
There you go.
Yep.
There you
Yep.
go.
And
I
just
just
wait
think
till the census
there's a
number
lot of
comes out.
consumers out there who don't, a lot of people buying comics don't watch YouTube comic shows. They don't, they just see an image and a link on Instagram. They're like, oh, that is so cool. Yeah. I'm going to put my money in that one.
Yeah. Just be a wise consumer, like if you were buying any other collectible.
All right. We still have quite a bit, few more books to cover. So.
Ben's like, we're going to be here all night.
This is a long list, man. We're going to be here all freaking night. A beautiful Ivan Tao. He had so many great books this year. I don't think they're any better than this one, to be honest with you. Between the colors, the fact that like the Miles' dark costume offsetting the more vibrant colors, some negative space stuff going on, just like front to back, a well constructed, beautiful book.
Yeah, fucking beautiful.
Can I pat myself on the back before Ant does on this one? I've been having conversations with Ant because we were doing this as a shared exclusive, and we ended up sharing with a few people. But we went into Miles and Moon Girl as a shared exclusive, and we were talking about artists. And I said, like, this is going to be the year of Ivan Tao. Watch it. This is going to be the year of Ivan Tao, and so Ant took a good look at his work and was like, hell yeah, I dig it, and I think you're right, and went to him. And this wasn't the original design, wasn't Ant? He did something else that was like it just didn't fit, right? What you're telling me?
He had
He
had a different variation of this. I'll be honest. So James, we had worked with Ivan before, but James made me feel like I was wearing a Snuggie, and it was okay to look at Ivan for a larger product. These Marvel and DC books are not cheap, so you don't really throw a dart at the board and hope your artist sticks. Like you got to go with a tried and true artist. And so he's talking Ivan. I'm like, I don't know if that's worth the investment. So I'm doing a bunch of research, and then finally I'm like, okay, there's something here, but he sends us a couple concepts, and I kind of did my thing. I was like, all right, this is the one I like. I think I floated them to you guys. And then Laura asserted her dominance, and the final product is her. So I'll let her explain how she came at me.
Okay. First of all, the original that we got, the yellow in this piece was more like you guys know like sticky notes, that pastel yellow. That was the yellow. And I was like, ooh, no. Like we gotta change this color around a little bit. So he changed it to this, and we thought it hit so much better. And then again, initially it was this is actually technically a double negative space cover because you have the red or the pinkish red and the yellow both that are negative. And originally it wasn't. It was only the yellow. So we asked him to tie in the negative space on the pink too, so it hit a little bit harder. And something about it, when we finally got the final piece back, we were like, oh my God, Ivan, this is perfect. Perfect.
Yeah, I haven't met anybody who hasn't seen this cover and absolutely gushed over it. I mean, hits on all notes. So,
and I can't imagine like if you call Ivan up, hey, can I talk to Ivan? Yeah, this is Ivan.
Oh, he's so nice. He's
Hey,
like, really cool.
this is Laura from Bird City. Are you smoking crack? What's going on with this cover? I'm not paying for this.
He's super easy.
No, he's so good to work with. He's so like receptive, and really good artists are. They're willing to take like slight changes and make it the best that it can be, and he always does.
These guys always want to put their best work out there, and you learn really quickly which artists you can critique, and they're going to take it the right way.
Yeah,
and like they were saying, like Ivan is just one of the greatest, like the nicest people in comics.
Have you guys ever offended an artist without meaning to, and they took it the wrong way?
We sent a PDF of a book to an artist we probably shouldn't have because we didn't look it over first.
Oh,
but I don't
shit.
think she was offended by it.
Who was
No,
that?
When we sent Maria Key, what book was that?
No, I think it was when we sent Aaron Cherry Blackbird.
Oh yeah, we sent Aaron Bartling Cherry Blackbird.
Oh,
Oh yeah,
the first issue.
Yeah,
And
first
Aaron's,
issue.
Aaron's a very Christian man, and he stands by his values, which that's great. And that
That's
book is
probably like the
not
complete
very
opposite of
Christian.
Schmalky, right?
that book is really dark, and the first few pages get really bad. And we sent it to him, and he's like, "I don't know if I can do this, guys." And we looked through the PDF, and we're like, "Oh, I can't believe we sent that to him." No, great story, and we still did a cover for it. And it's an amazing book. I love Schmalky's work, but that was that wasn't the right artist for that book, you know.
So I was looking in my folders and I have the original. See
There
the
you go.
yellow?
Oh yeah.
Oh
nice.
yeah, the
Yeah,
one
not vibrant enough, right?
Not
And
vibrant
here's
enough. I'm
the
like, I want
other
it brighter.
concept we skipped on.
Yes.
yeah.
But
That looks
that's
pretty
The one he
cool.
went with is much.
that's Ivan's classic. That one he did with
Drip.
his first Drippy cover, right? Before he even did a cover.
Yeah.
He
Yeah.
did that.
So that was the one we
that
passed
mild-
on with
yeah.
second concept, and then this was the pastelly yellow that Laura. I approve this,
I didn't like the
and
yellow.
she was pissed, and she was like, "No, it needs to be more yellow," and I'm like, "Okay."
Yeah.
And
It was a good call. I mean, the yellow actually absolutely makes it. So
Yeah.
good eye, Laura.
Hey,
Colors.
Aaron, I found it.
Oh, there you go. I forgot who was requesting
Here it is, bro.
Yes, so She Geek was looking for
Marky Mark. Hey, and then first appearance of Chris Cross.
Oh, yeah.
Huh?
Oh my gosh.
Newsstand variant.
It's a
But
double
bro,
key.
first appearance of the abs, bro.
Also make you what?
You got to get
Come
that
on,
sign.
come on.
You got to get that sign.
Warm it up, Chris. I'm about to. Warm it up, Chris. Okay.
All right.
I'm rehearsing to keep it sharp as a knife, man.
Ah, Guma.
All right. So this book had to be mentioned. This is Ji Hung Lee's. I believe it's pronounced Guma number 1. This was an exclusive that he put out where he did the art and the story. So this is a complete him front to back. And a really beautiful piece of work, and an artist that I think is one of the very, very best in the game right now. And it's nice to see that him having so much passion for a project that he wanted to basically put out the entire thing. So this was initially available on Kickstarter, and then he was selling them on his web store. He did a number of covers, and he had some guest artists do covers as well. I did not throw them all on; they're all worth talking about.
Yeah, they're all
just
amazing.
just a really cool concept. And the book to have, as it turns out, is that before this book actually was made available on Kickstarter, he had a test printing. I don't know how many there were, but I don't think there were that many that came out of this that are actually the rarest of the bunch. He sold a handful of them on his website. I was lucky enough to find one just out of dumb luck. Yeah, just a really cool exclusive that's not just about the cover, it's about the insides as well.
So when I first saw this one, I went to go buy one, and then I saw that he had released a test pressing and was like, well, if I find one of those, I'll buy it. But it made it to where like this wasn't the Grail, so this wasn't the one I was going for, you know?
Yeah, no, I can totally see that. And listen, this was a very well subscribed Kickstarter. Like he had a lot of interest in this. The other cover that he did that I thought was quite good is the next one. Which doesn't feel like his stuff, but I think it came out exceptionally well. And there was a foil of this that I picked up that looked really cool. But
I like these.
Yeah, when you have an artist picking the artist for the cover of his book, like it was home run after home run after home run on the covers he picked for his release on this.
So
yeah, the Ben Oliver was stunning. Like I don't
Ben
know if you saw it.
Oliver.
I mean, beautiful.
Yeah.
They did this well too. They only selected a certain amount of retailers that were allowed to carry this. And the girls and I did a show on Jay Young, and he showed up in the middle of it and was like, "Hey, thanks for doing a show about my work." And we heard from his agent later that evening, and they allowed us to sell some of these for the Kickstarter, which was really neat.
Well, that's super cool. Yeah.
Oh,
It was. It was really. I was like, "Yes, we'll do it. Yes, of course." There it is. Because only certain retailers were allowed to carry these.
Is that the test printing on that one?
Are you doing giveaways, Ant?
He's yell
You're
at him.
muted.
Tell him he's muted.
You're muted, babe.
Wow.
Babe, hold on. I'll scream it across the house. Hold on.
I'm muted. I'm making a giveaway pile.
Oh, you're making a giveaway pile. Oh, all right.
Wait,
So-
that's
Wow.
all giveaways?
Thank you, Aunt. That is.
Yeah. Why not? I mean,
So
let me know if
three-
there's any more of my books on here. I can go run and grab them.
We have the test one to answer your question.
So, are you going to give it all to one person,
It's
or
up to you guys.
You guys, this is
I'm
your
just here to
show.
donate.
How about we split the pile in half? So, if you're in the live chat right now, you'll get, should we say, first choices, or however you want to split it up. I don't care. And then if you're watching on the rewind, just leave a comment, and on our first episode of next year, I'll do a live wheel. So for anyone that comments.
Hey, we'll toss in some gun honeys for that wheel for first show of next year too. You
Okay,
can
for the
go
awesome.
for the
Thank you,
rewind.
guys.
Appreciate it.
Not mine though, that are set aside already, right? Just saying.
No, I wrote you on the big whiteboard behind the desk. I got you, Ant.
Dig it.
You better remind him though.
No, it's on the whiteboard. We're good now with the whiteboard.
Okay.
All right. So we did a whole show on sketchbooks and how I think, from a collectible standpoint, how they're probably underappreciated in the hobby. Warren Lau put up this beautiful foil that he was selling at cons, but it was limited to 100. Right? If you're going to do something like this, make it collectible. So limited to 100. A beautiful foil. Obviously, this is a Campbell homage. But a book, Rob, he's not on with us tonight. Rob's Comics, he wanted this on here tonight, and I couldn't disagree with him on this. Yeah, just a super cool book that are still a couple available, I understand, on his website. They're not cheap, but if you're going to create something super collectible, hats off. So yeah, just a beautiful sketchbook, and not the last one on the list tonight.
Ditto.
Yeah, just a cool one. So, like I said, I'm going to continue to pump these. If you're going to cons and artists are selling sketchbooks, that goes directly to them, and they're awesome. They're awesome to have. And these books are generally not, unless you're talking maybe some of the biggest artists, aren't being printed to ridiculous numbers. These are really cool collectibles to
The
have.
Scotty Young one goes for a ton of money if you can find it.
Yeah, there's some out there that go for banana. I mean, we came across an Art Adams going for like $5,000 or something. So,
Yeah.
some of these sketchbooks are super tough to find.
Well, I think this is a good tip in general anyways. Like when you're going to these different cons, like stop and shop around at Artist Alley, because sometimes these artists don't even advertise what they're going to be bringing to the con. Sometimes.
Yeah.
Like sometimes it's just like a surprise drop or whatever.
Yeah, I mean, DeCall has some that I've been looking for years that are absolute. He must have been printing these things at 100 back in the day. I mean, they're super hard to find. So, yeah, worth keeping an eye open for.
Go to the artist webpage too. I mean, a lot of them will have there.
Yeah, you can find them on their websites. They bring them to cons. They don't sell out. They're on websites. So go take a look. Like I said, this foil was there's still some there, I believe. All right, so Lau again. I mean, I just did this book. This book hit pretty hard. They did a couple of different versions of it. I don't know who the store was who sold the original set. There was this one with her wearing glasses as well, and then they recreated a foil version for NYCC. But he had also a Gun Honey book last year where she was sitting in the bathtub that fetched, a very nice premium. So
that one's, I think the bathtub one's going to be almost turn into a ghost.
Yeah, great.
It's pretty ghosty right now, I believe.
And I think this one was the Comic Mint, if I'm not mistaken.
Comic Mint did the original. Yeah,
No, this one too. I think they did the Warren.
No,
Miles.
this was KRS.
Oh, it's KRS. That's right. That's right. Yeah, KRS.
Or was it shared across both?
It was 600 for the KRS one, and then 500 for NYC the NYCC foil. But yeah, just a really cool book. I mean, Lau, he seems to be getting bigger and bigger. Some people love his work, some people don't. I know Matt DeVoe from Cover Price is a huge fan. But yeah, his books seem to hit, and these Gun Honeys, they disappear pretty quickly.
They're so soft. Like she looks so soft everywhere.
Yeah, I love that. I agree. That softness in artists, Adam Hughes and Lobos and this
Soft and squishy.
Dodson's. Yeah. There's just something about that.
I mean,
I'm
when
gonna
I
get
go to
in
the beach,
so much trouble, man.
I'm just saying. When I go to the beach and I want to
I'm
take a
just playing.
selfie with my AK, I do it topless too. So I'm not even being original.
Oh man,
She stole your pose.
I'm in the doghouse now, man.
I have pictures of me like that with my shirt off. Just so you guys know.
Exactly like that.
So Ward
I'm gonna
Lau
print
got
it.
it
It's
off
gonna
your
be limited
IG,
to
huh?
600.
Laura, I'll send you $5.
Deal done.
I shouldn't
Wait a
have said
second.
squishy.
With my aviators on.
All right. We'll keep this moving, or we're going to be here all night. Aaron, I think this was one of the ones that you wanted to talk about.
Yeah, so Creep Show #1, it's a David Mack variant, but like whenever I see this, I don't think David Mack, right? Like it kind of just surprised me, and then also shout out to Wanted Comics for doing this comic. So thought it was just a really cool cover. Wasn't expecting to see David Mack attached to this, and I was like, this looks totally different than what he normally puts out, right?
Yeah, but it still has like his the text and stuff that he has in the background. That's like classic to Mac, right? You can see that there.
Right.
It kind of gives it away. But I agree with you. At first glance, you probably wouldn't have guessed Mac on this one. I didn't see this one when it came out. This one is pretty cool. It's selling for about $50 raw consistently in the secondary market, which I assume is above the buy-in on this. Yeah, this one's pretty cool.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. So here's an artist that I think goes a little underappreciated. Igor Lamov. He does a lot of work with Trinity, I think, but this set sold out very quickly. It was a Street Fighter swimsuit special. There was this one, and then there was like a bikini version of it, more or less the exact same thing, without the beret and with a bikini. But they were limited to 300. And whenever I see his work, like it really, there's something about it that really works for me. And this book sold out very, very quickly this year. I remember when it went live, I was surprised that it was gone. I think within a couple hours. But just an artist that I think worth keeping an eye on. In the future, just given the quality of his work.
This seems like a Rob submission book. Am I close?
He has a lot of Cammy books, right, that he likes to talk about. I don't think he's got this one, to be honest with you. I don't think he's in the chat tonight, but I don't think he has this one. He always has Street Fighter books, right?
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, this is not Rob. I threw this one on there.
Oh wow.
Okay.
But out of all that show up on the panel regularly, like I would assume that he's the one that probably has this book, right?
What's that?
I would assume that Rob is probably the one that has this book, because I know he stays on top of all the Street Fighter.
I would imagine
probably
that he does have it. I would imagine that he does, but I've never seen him show it. We'll have to ask him. But
Yeah.
he seems
Proof of life on this one from him.
Maybe Comics Main is the only other person I could think that's like a huge Street Fighter collector.
All right, so Larry Joe points out that Vampirella 15 was his first cover. So we have that book on the show tonight, actually. I thought that came out this year, but maybe it was just the metal that came out this year, but it might be the next book. Was this the one that you're talking about, Larry? Let us know. I thought that this came out this year. That I definitely saw the metal sell this year. But if this is not a 2022, I apologize. But just another Igor Lomov cover. Raws were limited to 300. I believe metals were limited to 50 on this, but don't quote me on that. But just a cool vampy cover. He's done a number of different books recently that I think that pop pretty well. But I was just throwing on this one. This is another one where the metal with the moon just really like you can't show it on the screen for whatever reason. The glare doesn't present the same way, but this was a really cool book, particularly in the metals. All right, let's keep it moving. So this was definitely a Rob book. So this is a cosplay cover for Zatanna. The book is called Artist Portfolio #1. It's for an artist called Anna Marcano. It was only limited to 50. There was 50 in the trade dress, 50 in the Virgin. A really stunning piece of work for an artist maybe worth keeping an eye on. It was from Mad Love Comics and Art. But anytime there's a book that's limited to 50 on an artist that seems to have a lot of potential, might not be a bad idea to grab something like that. And they weren't asking an arm and a leg for these. These were $25, I think.
Who's the publisher?
Wow.
Mad Love Comics and Art.
That's the publisher, not the seller.
The publisher, the website is Mad Love Comics.
Interesting. Okay. This is fantastic.
Not
it's just an art. I believe it's just like a sketchbook, to be honest with you. So
okay.
Not to be mistaken for Man Love Comics. When you guys are typing it in the search bar, make sure you're being responsible.
You get a very different search result if
exactly.
I just want to point out real quick, we have 80 live listeners right now, so thank you so much. Make sure you're like and subscribe to the channel to see all this great content. And we're growing the channel even more now, so that's even more exciting.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So 2023 is going to be a big year, and then make sure you're active in chat because we're going to be doing a giveaway once we finish up.
All right, I have to bow out though, Laura. Ellie just gave me side eye because they haven't eaten yet. So,
all right, thank you for being on, Ian.
I'm surprised
I
I didn't
appreciate
order
you guys.
pizza yet.
Message me however you guys want me to do it. I will ship the books out. And
okay.
Yeah.
You want to show it off one more time before you head out?
Sure. Yeah.
Oh, McClay. Oh, McClay's gone. I got a new toy.
I'm still here.
Oh, check it out, McClay. Boom. Zoom. Boom. You want more zooming? You gotta come hang out. I got a new streaming toy.
All right.
These are
Zoom
all
out?
giveaways.
What? Zoom in? Yeah, that was it. I'm excited. That's all I figured out how to do on it so far. So
nice.
Love it.
Got to start.
And just the Hive guys are going to give away a couple of gun honeys as well. Right? Not to put words in their mouth, but they definitely offer that. So
how about we do this? So for the live chat, you will get the Bird City giveaway package, and then for leaving a comment on the rewind, you'll get the Hive package, just to make it simple. And
makes sense.
Yep. And then real quick, we got a $25 super chat from Lewis.
Oh, nice. Thank you, Lewis.
I need to start preparing more songs for this. Like, I
play Master of Puppet.
How about Slayer?
But with a reggae beat.
Is that how that song goes? I don't remember.
Super chat.
Here, I'll play something else.
Tear my heart open. Myself short. All right, Laura, I'm tired. I gotta.
Wow.
Thanks, I love you.
All right, peace.
Thanks, Ant.
Hey, Laura, make sure he calls me tomorrow.
He barely calls me during the day. I barely hear from that man.
Okay, I'll hit him up.
All right. I think our next section of books that we're going to start covering now are foreign books.
Oh, hey.
So, we have
Josh woke up.
we have our international expert with us. So,
Right, Josh wakes up, huh? Foreign?
So the floor is yours, Josh.
All right, so this was the Amazing Fantasy 15 that just came out this year. I really liked this one because it's like a black chrome cover on it, and on the back it has a Spider-Man drawing by Steve Ditko that I believe was never published. That is chrome foil as well. So this was really cool. I'm not actually. I don't know if this was a Lamole book or what this was, but it was super cool. And you can grab this for, really cheap on eBay, maybe like $20 or something like that. So
Yeah, I don't think it was Lamole. You would know a hell of a lot better than me. But when I was looking into it, it didn't seem like it was. But I don't know.
yeah, it might have just came out like it might have just been something Marvel put out. It might not be Lamole.
Well, a lot of things are going to be changing for Mexico produced books now since Panini took over the Marvel license for Mexico, right?
Yeah, that'll be super nice. So yeah, it'll be a real different exclusive game next year.
Tony's down there folding his laundry. The longest scarf ever.
Well, sometimes you just gotta like double take and do your work, right?
Yeah. Well, you guys are lucky I'm not moving furniture behind me right now.
All right. So this was everybody's favorite book not too long ago. So this was the Amazing Spider-Man 300. This was not a Lamole exclusive.
No.
This was done by El Quinto Mundo, shop down in Mexico City, and it was limited to 1,000. Not
okay. I swear when I looked, somebody has this listed on eBay. A couple of people Lamole limited to 300. So maybe it's a different book.
Those people are lying to you.
All right.
eBay lies.
Well, that was a big thing during New York City Comic Con that happened.
Yeah.
And then because as soon as I saw one of the retailers saying hey, there's only 500 in America right now or something like that. And then I as soon as I saw that, I was like, screenshot, send it to Josh. I was like, I was just kind of I was like, this seems like really I don't know how you can say definitively that hey, there's only 500 copies in America right now.
Yeah, that was who was that again that did this? Who had I don't remember, but yeah, that was the big.
It was KRS and Comic Man.
Yeah, that was
500. So they said it was 500.
Yeah, they said that it was limited. There were only 500 copies in the U.S. and I was like, okay, well, make it like 507 because I have 7. So, but it's limited to 1,000. So it's limited to 1,000, and it was done by El Quinto Mundo. It's still going for I think 150-ish raw. I saw 9.8 sell for $250, and then the McFarlane's, the CGC SS's, those are going for I saw a 9.8 sell for $650, and I think a 9.9 sold for almost $1,500, which is crazy. I don't personally like any of this stuff just because that's not what Foreigns is about to me. So, but collect what you love. So if you like foil, foreign exclusives,
I can see why people like this though. I mean, it's literally a foil reproduction of the book with no changes, right? The exact same price. I mean, I can see why people
it looks great.
To have Josh's back on this, and I'm new into the foreign market as compared to Josh, but the foreign market wasn't ever supposed to be about retailers getting away with what they can't stateside. It was supposed to be about it being something new and different.
Mm-hmm.
And so just doing a foil of a book that already exists, it kind of waters down, at least for me, and I'm sure Josh is in the same boat. It kind of waters down what that foreign comic experience really was.
Yeah,
You
the
know,
whole
we get excited when we see like, oh, here's the foreign version that has an unreleased cover that, you know,
Yeah.
or totally different artwork, or that's the stuff that we're like, holy hell, that's awesome, you know. And this is
Yeah.
cool. It's cool, but it's
the
you know,
whole foreign thing started because people were tired of having to, you know, like every comic book had 8 million covers for it, and you know all the exclusives that come out and stuff like that. So to see, you know, I guess shops in other countries that see, you know,
what we're doing here.
exclusives, yeah, and they're
Yeah.
like, oh well, we can just do this now too. And you know, it was never supposed to be about that, but it is a cool cover. And
It is.
you know, I did buy some, so but they're mine for my personal collection. So, and I sold some for dirt cheap just because I, you know, I didn't want to overcharge people for stuff like that, because it's just not what it is to me. So
And then Righteous Flipper, the 3-packs were different than this one. This came out this year. The 3-packs, if I'm not mistaken, had like a black border around them.
yeah, those were 2018, I think, and those have like a black border all the way around it. Those are really tough to get in high grade because those were like 3-packs of books that came in an oversized bag, and they weren't like bagged or boarded or anything. They were just flopping around in there.
Yeah. Ooh.
So this is the Department of Truth 22. This was a Comic-Con exclusive. So this wasn't a store exclusive, but it had to go on here. So this was a Sozo Micah. This was the Singapore Comic-Con. It was limited to 300. I think it was $50. You could get this for $50. It's sold out now. And I've only seen one hit eBay, and I think it went for like $80 or $90 or something like that.
Nice.
People seem to either love this or hate this because it
doesn't look like her. Like I would never think Sozo Micah.
Yeah,
She's
it's not your normal
very,
Sozo.
I think like not to hinge back on the art book stuff, but like we picked up a bunch of her art book at I think it was MegaCon. And she had some work in there that you're like, is this really, you know, is this the same? Like I think she's more diverse than people are giving her credit for. So,
well, do you think they also made it a bit more conservative because it's in Singapore too?
In Singapore,
like, because I mean, you can't even chew gum there or spit. Like, you know, there's spitting laws too.
Yeah.
So I would assume like that kind of environment that things
That
are a
is
bit
true.
more conservative.
maybe it had to be tailored to it.
Yeah,
That's an interesting thought. I just wrote this on my big whiteboard. I'm hunting for one now. So
yeah, I like this. It's like
Well,
old
this is good.
Hitchcock kind of Twilight Zone vibes.
Yeah, I can see her style in here. I mean, yes, it doesn't scream like some of her Catwoman stuff, but I can definitely see her work in here. I wouldn't necessarily think of her when I first look at it, but as I look at this more, you can definitely, you know, pick out some of her stylings in here.
Was this the LSD issue?
Hmm.
Or was that 20 or 21, something like that?
Not sure.
I mean,
Oh,
that
there you go.
that would make more sense, like to see this.
It was $38. 50
Max.
Singapore currency. Yeah.
Nice. But how much was shipping?
Yeah, good question. So I really liked this one. I'm a big fan of Good Boy. So this was Good Boy #1 for Volume 3, and this was another Singapore Comic-Con exclusive done by Quinatazia. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that artist's name correctly, but it was limited to 100 foils and 20 medals, and it sold out pretty quick. So I'd like to see a foil cover of this.
I wonder if this is a book that would look really good in person, right? Like these pictures don't really do it justice.
I wonder if Garrett knows about this book.
I'm sure Garrett has micromanaged his own universe to perfection, and I'm sure he knows everything. It's the military in him. That's why me and him get along so well.
We got his gun crate, James. Did you know that?
What?
We were on with Garrett one day. He's like, I'm going to do these gun crates, and they're going to be $1,000, and nobody's going to be dumb enough to buy them. And Ant's like, I'll buy one.
We almost bought one too.
We bought one.
That's amazing. Aaron had his coins. I have one of Aaron's coins that he gave to Garrett. Garrett gave it to me.
So I have this is the first edition one, and I traded it in.
For?
You take him to cons and you trade it you give him to him, and then he gives you something.
Oh.
I got original art from the last time I traded in.
Yeah.
But don't expect OA every time. Just saying.
He's got something different every show.
Yeah. So like he's like, sometimes if you bring me the coin, it could just be an enamel pin. It could be a variant comic. It could be a hat. Like it's like just random stuff. So
now I know.
Yeah.
That man's a master of his own universe, and if shit plays out the way he has it planned, it's gonna be crazy.
Yeah, I mean, I'm still sitting on a bunch of coins too. Just to,
I would.
Yeah,
I would love a Good Boy animated show. That's all I gotta say.
Yeah. So I'm probably gonna keep my first one.
Kickstarter, hit me up.
Yeah, I'm probably gonna keep the first coin, but I still have version 2, like the one that James showed.
Yeah.
All right, this is another Rob book he wanted on here. So this is Soza Micah, her sketchbook, Your Eyes Only. It was a San Diego Comic-Con exclusive. She did sell some on her website, I believe. Just a heads up on this, though, there are reprints of this, and instead of under only where it says Soza Micah, it says Redux. So just heads up, if you see one and you buy it, nothing wrong with it, but it goes for a lot less. Don't think that you're necessarily getting the original one, but just just a really cool sketchbook from her. We're big fans of sketchbooks on the show, and this was an exclusive that she sold at cons and in a very limited amount on her website.
It's a thick one too. There's a lot of art in there. It's a good one.
Yeah, she really came storming this year out of the gate. I mean, I really think her Catwoman 39 is in many ways one of the books of the year. A fantastic new talent on the scene, and she's got a lot of energy and her Punchline #2 foil that came out recently was amazing. I think a book that
Her Bitter Root was incredible too. I feel like that
she's phenomenal. So great to have new talent in the scene, and she's certainly a talent for sure. She's going to be around for a long time.
Agreed.
Yes, it's treasury. Metal Face is asking if it's treasury sized. It's a big one. It's treasury sized. It's bigger than magazine.
So this was Spawn 185. This was a Lamole foil exclusive that they released this year. It was limited to 1,000 copies, and this thing did pretty well when it first. I mean, Spawn fans are like rabid.
Yeah.
So I think this was going for a few hundred, and I think a 9.8 sold for, I want to say like close to 1,000 or something like that when it's first hit. So these books aren't easy to get in high grade. They come like wrapped from the con, but I mean, I had gotten a couple of these and they were dinged up and dented and all kinds of stuff. So it was just a cool, I don't know why they chose Spawn 185. That was kind of odd to me, but
it said Endgame on it, right? They're just playing off all that Marvel success. They just
I guess it was a weird issue to pick for sure.
Well, that's one of the biggest issues in the run, though, right? That issue, that Endgame issue, is one of the biggest issues in the run.
Is that the one where it has like the headless variant to it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Okay.
Yeah.
And it's like what super low print run part of the run too as well.
Yep.
Yeah. And
all right. Before we move on to the next book, Blind Adam, has sent us a 99-cent super chat. So let me try to figure out what to play. I don't remember the rest of the song.
All right, thank you so much.
All right.
So this was probably the best Singapore Comic Con exclusive. This is the Silver Surfer Ghostlight #1 Del Auto. They did a trade and a Virgin. You could still buy the trade. The Virgin is sold out, but I mean this is a killer Del Auto piece.
Yeah, like most Silver Surfers, right? It'd probably be an absolute banger as a foil, right? But
It kind of reminds me of the other Silver Surfer book where it has like the reflection of Noel in the cover, and then what's the other variation of that? Is it like a scroll or something like that? In the reflection of the board?
Yeah, the one with Galactus.
Oh, Galactus. There you go.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I'm a sucker for a good Silver Surfer cover, though.
Amen.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
So good.
Yep. Always.
They got to do like a blacklight version, like go back to the 70s.
Oh, that'd be pretty cool.
Yeah.
But not like a Funko blacklight.
No.
Yeah.
What does Ghostlight mean?
Ghostlight?
Yeah. Silver Surfer
No idea.
Ghostlight.
Go back to the podcast, Brian, with those questions.
All right, so this was an art book. I mean, who doesn't love Danny Trejo? So this was a horror edition of an art book that they did at La Mole this year. So these are cool because they just normally what they do. I'm not sure about the inside of this one, but normally most of the artists that they have at La Mole, they all get a page in the book to show off their work. So this was kind of like the what was the one from last year? Was that Lau that did the Mrs.
it was loud. Yeah,
Frankenstein?
it was.
Yeah, so that was like a horror one last year where all the interior had horror pieces from all the artists. So this was the one they did this year. So I thought it was interesting. And I think it's foil. So
that's cool.
You know, I've been fortunate enough to run into him twice in when I lived back in Utah.
Oh, nice.
There's it's like the indie film capital of the world is Utah, and he's filmed so many films there where he's but yeah, he always ends up going into Salt Lake and staying in Salt Lake when they're filming, and I've run into him twice at restaurants.
I feel like he's done so many movies.
I've talked to him both times, and like super nice guy, you know, just walked up and said, "Hey man, I really love your work." And you know, we've had good conversation. Second time I met him, he remembered me. And it was like 3 years later. He's like, "Oh yeah, I remember you a couple years ago when I came into town." I said, "Yeah." Bought him a drink and we bullshitted for like 5 minutes. And he had like 5-10 other people around him wanting to talk to him. So I didn't want to steal his time. So I was just like, "Hey, it was great seeing you again." Super nice.
Well, that's
dude.
really cool. That's cool that he remembered you.
Yeah. I thought anytime anybody like, and Laura any of you guys can attest that have been to cons time after time after time. Anytime somebody that you kind of look up to in any regard, like that remembers you. Like the first time Adam Hughes remembered me after seeing him like at a con 2 years earlier, I was like, "Holy shit, this is amazing." You know, it just like, it does something to you where you're like you felt like you left a good enough impression that they remembered you. And yeah, that certainly always makes you feel good. So yeah, super nice guy.
This would be a great one for a signature.
Oh yeah.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
He's one of those guys too. Like, I don't know, like not A-list actor necessarily, but dude, long after he's gone, he's going to be on posters. I mean, he's going to be down as
he's a legend. He's a legend.
Like an icon.
Yeah.
What? Hey, Josh, was it Morticia who was on the foil from last year?
No, it was like the Bride of Frankenstein.
The Bride of Frankenstein.
Yeah.
I can picture it in my head.
Yep.
Oh, okay. I remember that cover now.
Yeah, they had the regular and then the naughty.
Well, and then what was it also that they had like blank pages within it where the artist could draw something for you at the convention or something like that? Was that
No,
that
it was all full. It was just full of single page like horror drawings that the artists that were at the con could do. It was kind of like almost like a yearbook because you could go around and get the artists to sign. Like I had a copy that each page was signed by the artist, one of the artists that were there.
Okay.
With their work.
Why isn't San Diego and Emerald City and New York doing shit like that?
because they're dropping M&M
That's
exclusives.
how amazing would
instead.
that
No,
be?
I'm
No, I
Yeah,
mean, seriously,
there's
though, how can you think of a better way to get artists back to a con than being like, hey, we're pretty much guaranteeing you're going to sign at least 100 copies of something, and if
Yeah.
you're charging $10 a piece or whatever, I mean, I don't know why other cons aren't thinking of that. Like, that's amazing. You
yeah.
know?
well, depending on who they feature inside, right? Or I
Yeah.
mean, I guess. Well, I mean, even in like because like some of these celebrities are showing up to those cons as well. That
Yeah.
could cost you like several hundred to get just that signed by whoever.
But people would do it.
Yeah. I mean,
Just
I'm not
do
saying
it,
people.
just do artists. I mean, in
Yeah.
these books, it's like artists that most of us have probably never even heard of, but
Or do your artist
know-
book and your celebrity book.
yeah, but everyone, in Mexico that goes to La Mole, they know who they are and they fill up the pages with their autographs.
That's amazing. Cool. That's really cool.
Oh, it should be.
Yeah.
I like that. Righteous Flipper said, I thought he'd be tall due to the movies. I thought the same damn thing. First time I saw him, I was like, that's not Danny Trejo. Like, yeah, he's like, I mean, he's not much shorter than me, but he's like 4 or 5 inches shorter than me. And I thought for sure he was a big tall dude,
but that's all actors. They're all short.
Yeah, so
Right.
they say, like, you hear that over and over and over
it's-
again from actors, right? People
it's
just
camera
think of them
angles.
being larger than life. So
yeah.
I mean, what else do you expect too when you see them on the 50-foot screen, right?
Yeah, you
Yeah.
automatically think they're 6 foot plus and stoic, and they're just normal dudes, and they're sometimes they're 5'5" and 5'8", and
The first time I met McClay, I was like, man, you're so much shorter than I imagined.
and nobody ever.
Yeah.
I was like, hi, Brian. Good to meet you.
Yeah, that's about the norm, unless I'm hanging out with Big Leg.
Yeah.
There you go.
or
All
or
right.
like Chris Colbert,
what do we got
right?
left on this?
Chris
page?
Colbert.
Man.
For Jen.
Ooh.
Yeah, so
Jen's
this was another art book from La Mole. I don't know who did the cover on this one, but I thought it was a great Carnage cover. So this was the Absolute art book. I think it was Absolute Carnage. Just another cool thing that La Mole does.
Who is that artist that did that cover?
I don't know. I'd have to pull up the picture again because I can see the SIG. It's down on the right hand
That's
side right
amazing.
there. But yeah, it was a killer.
And most of these are just sketches and such. So man, if that's a sketch, I want to see the rest of his work. That's amazing.
Yeah, super cool.
All right. I think this is our last book. Yep.
So that was it.
Yeah.
That's our last book.
I mean, this is like 2 episodes in one. We're on our 2
Gotta
hour.
give people the value at the end of the year, man.
Yeah, I mean, we're at our 2 hour mark. I don't think we've had any episode that's gone this long. I want to thank the 82 live viewers that have been watching. But again, we want to thank our sponsors, starting with Cover Price. So make sure, if you haven't signed up already, use the code Nirvana14 for a 30-day membership, or 30-day unlimited membership for only 99 cents. Again, I did talk to DeVoe, and he does have some plans for some stuff in the future. So make sure to
super
tune in.
excited.
Yeah. We had a little impromptu meeting where, But anyways, I want to thank our other sponsors, Bird City Comics. Make sure you're using the code Nirvana for a 15% discount on their website, which I think it does not include the artist collections and pre-orders. Is that correct?
I know it doesn't apply to the Trish Forstner stuff. I'm not sure about pre-orders, but we do have an Ivan Tao Black Cloak cover coming out tomorrow. It's very similar to the Scarlet Witch cover that he did that Marvel would not allow us to do as an exclusive because it was a virgin. It was like a ratio or something, but it's killer. So if you guys haven't followed us already, please do on Instagram.
Yeah,
Guys,
it is a very nice cover.
As a retailer to a retailer, there's nobody that does it better than Bird City. And that's not just because me and Aunt are friends and Laura's super nice, but retailers that do it right deserve praise, and those guys do it right. They really do. So.
All right,
Right back
and
at you.
before we say our goodbyes, I do want to give our giveaway. So this is for the Bird
Yes.
City package. So hit up Bird City Comics on Instagram for the
Yeah.
giveaway. And then as a reminder for anyone watching on the rewind, leave a comment. I will, and in our first episode at the start of next year, I will make a spin wheel for everyone that leaves a comment. And then, so good luck, everyone.
Is this for all three, Yee? For the
Yeah, so this is for all three.
triple
For
pack?
yeah.
Okay.
Edwin Aguilar. Congrats.
He's one of our peeps. Fantastic. I'm so glad you won. Yay.
It's a big
Sweet.
score, man.
So, but still make sure to message Bird City Comic.
Yes.
Bird City Comics. Sorry. I was so used to saying comic with Red Hood on the on the show. But anyways.
No, message Bird City directly. Otherwise, we will forget because we just get so many messages in the morning. But congratulations. That's awesome.
Thank you so much for that, Laura and Ant. Thank you so much.
Oh,
Thanks
and
for having us.
then we got a Metal Face comic super chat right at the end for $19.99. I need to start like just making a huge list of songs to like learn how to play. No wait, let's see.
Woo!
Well done.
All right, and then so does anyone have any other podcasts coming up this week? Any Whatnot shows, anything like that?
Hive Comics live on Whatnot 5 days a week, maybe
Oh,
6.
wow.
Depends on if
Dang.
we're not
5 days a
sleeping or
week.
moving stuff around or celebrating New Year's. I would have a New Year's show, but I'm going to Charleston, South Carolina to get fucking litty. So hopefully I don't do a show that night, because if I do, it's just going to be an all giveaway show because I will be fucking shitty.
Okay. Anybody else?
I've got nothing, but I do want to thank Brian. I want to thank James, Laura, and Ant for everyone hopping on the show tonight. It was a blast. Thank you so much.
Hell yeah, it was fun.
Jonathan too.
Saturday night, we'll have a show on MCM. I'm probably just gonna open it up and just allow people who, as they're coming home wasted, to jump on and say hello, and we'll probably just chat and talk to the viewers. It's gonna be the last free live show on Beyond Wednesdays, starting the first of the year. All live shows will be members only. So if you guys enjoy that type of stuff, come hang out with us over there and do that. If you've never seen it, come hang out Saturday night and see the first show.
And then I will most likely be there wasted. So
Yeah, that'll be fun, man.
Yeah. And then I can't remember if I scheduled a Whatnot show for tomorrow, but I think I did. So we'll see if I get organized enough to do it. So if not, I'll push it until 2023. But I do have some stuff planned to go on Facebook at some point in time in a certain group. So we'll see if that pans out. And then and some future stuff with YouTube. So diversifying my lanes of selling books. So might as well, right?
Amen.
Yeah.
We all have to do that in 2023.
I mean, it's a smart thing to do anyways, instead of putting all your eggs in one basket. But that's a whole nother conversation for a different podcast. Any last parting words for anyone, I guess?
Good night.
Good night.
And
Thank you very
Happy
much.
New Year. Stay safe.